Hi, everyone. You're listening to Radio Cherry Bombe, and I'm your host, Kerry Diamond, coming to you from New York City. Today's guest is someone very near and dear to me and the Cherry Bombe universe, chef, author, TV host, and proud PBS champion, Vivian Howard. Vivian has been a longtime friend of the show, and if you know her work, you know she has always been one of the most thoughtful, curious voices in food. So it makes sense that her latest PBS series is called Kitchen Curious. Vivian goes straight to the pros to get answers about what we're cooking, eating, and buying. From the truth about seed oils and grocery store myths to why the French love frozen food, she digs in with her trademark honesty and humor. Of course, we also talk about Thanksgiving. We talk turkey, sides, stuffing, and lots more. The holiday is just a few days away, as you all know, but I am sure plenty of you could still use some tips, tricks, and advice from one of the country's top chefs. I know I could. We also chat about Vivian's restaurant world. She has her place, Chef and the Farmer, in Kinston, North Carolina, where she is hosting intimate kitchen bar dinners. I would like to go to one of those. There is her Charleston spot, Lenoir, and her Outer Banks restaurant, Theodosia. Yes, the same Theodosia from Hamilton, for all my ham fans out there. Speaking of Charleston, we have a special working lunch event coming up in Charleston on Thursday, December 11th, with Open Table and the Visa Dining Collection. Head over to cherrybombe.com for all the details and ticket information. I am so happy to reconnect with Vivian Howard. Stay tuned for our chat. Today's show is presented by J.W. Marriott. Nature is healing. Those words may come up often as an internet meme in all of our social feeds, but there is truth to be found there. Research has shown that spending time in a natural setting can have a positive effect on our mental and emotional well-being. At J.W. Marriott, nature is part of the brand's DNA. Founder J. Willard Marriott treasured his daily nature walks, and his wife Alice was an avid gardener. Now, every J.W. Marriott property around the world has its own J.W. garden, providing a sustainable source of fresh herbs and vegetables that are used throughout the guest experience, from your welcome elixir to your in-room dining order to your late-night cocktail. Best of all, the JW Garden offers guests a chance to sit, connect to nature, and just be, so you can reap some of those mental health benefits yourself. Think of it as a chance to check in and tune out. Learn more and book your trip at jwmarriott.com. The new issue of Cherry Bombe magazine is almost here, and it is all about cake. The pages are packed with sweet stories, beautiful recipes, and gorgeous photography, all on thick, lush paper. The issue will be out in early December, so head to cherrybombe.com to pre-order or subscribe. For the cover reveal and behind-the-scenes videos, head to Cherry Bombe on Instagram. Now, let's check in with today's guest. Vivian Howard, welcome back to Radio Cherry Bombe.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get started because there's a lot of ground that we have to cover. Let's start with Kitchen Curious. I have loved all your shows over the years, and you have a brand new PBS series that debuted, I believe, last month, right?
Yes.
What is Kitchen Curious? I mean, you could tell a lot from the title, but in your words, what is Kitchen Curious all about?
You know, Kitchen Curious really, we delve into questions in every episode that I think everyone who has a kitchen has. You know, over the last 5 years, I have been doing what I think a lot of people have, which is scrolling, you know, running into a million experts on food and wellness and what we should be eating and what we shouldn't. I just wanted to provide and also learn. I wanted to ask real experts the answers to these questions, and I wanted to kind of dial in on some of them. That's what we do. And you know, where a chef's life in Somewhere South, I think we're somewhat aspirational. You know, in every episode, I go to a farm or I go to the farmer's market. I'm working with really beautiful ingredients that a lot of people can't access. I really wanted this to meet people where they're at. Every episode, almost, we go to the grocery store, not the co-op, but like Walmart and Piggly Wiggly. And we go to the aisles where the question resides. I mean, I live in rural America. A lot of people only the best option they have is a Walmart. So I wanted to represent that.
It's so interesting that you said you wanted to talk to experts because so many of us consider you an expert. So the fact that you were even craving expertise says something.
Well, that's why, you know, that's one of the reasons, like one of the aha moments for having this show was like this discussion of seed oils and how over the course of my lifetime, the fat that is trendy has changed. You know, when I was a kid, it was like margarine. I mean, I wouldn't even put margarine on my legs today.
I can't believe it's not butter when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. That's margarine.
I'm sure that still exists, but like, yeah, wouldn't touch it. No.
And at that time, you know, all animal fats were maligned, and now they're like back in vogue. And so, you know, it's like I do consider myself an expert in many ways about certain aspects of food. But if I'm confused by the conversation, then I imagine a lot of people really are.
So seed oil, once and for all, tell us, just wade right into that maha seed oil argument, Vivian. What's the truth about seed oil?
Well, I think the truth, what I actually learned was that we should be eating the spectrum of oils, and that aside from things that don't start with raw ingredients like margarine, we should not demonize any of the foods. That's really what I learned.
That's a good take. Why is tallow trending? I was at a farmer's market this summer and I bought a tallow face cream and stopped using it because my cat wouldn't stop licking my face. That's gross. I'm so sorry, people, but I'm just sharing the truth. And then when I was down south, I was in Nashville with my friend Libby Calloway, and we were driving. I saw a giant billboard that said our fries are now fried in tallow. What's going on?
Well, you know, okay, so there's a really wonderful revisionist history episode about McDonald's French fry and how it went from being fried in tallow
and tallow is just
fried
just beef fat, right? That's what tallow is.
Yes, it's just rendered beef fat, and it makes the crispiest, most delicious French fry. But at some point, one man actually, you know, took it as his mission in life to change the fat that they fried in at McDonald's, and it became a hydrogenated whatever compound, and that's what we've been eating forever. And we have learned that that's not good for us, and perhaps something like tallow is better.
One guy?
Yes, basically. You know, I did not know I was going to quote this episode today, so you'll have to listen to it, but it's a fascinating, wonderful episode of revisionist history. And it was like one guy, he had a heart attack, and then he's like, it's because of the tallow, essentially. It's the French fries.
Wait, this was on the Malcolm Gladwell podcast, Revisionist History?
Yes,
Were you a guest, or you just listened to it?
No, I just listened.
Oh, you would have been a good guest for that one.
Yeah, well, maybe one day.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, but I think what's interesting to me about tallow and bacon fat and schmaltz is that, you know, really they are fats that we all bring into our kitchens. And if we take a little time to render them, or in the case of bacon fat, just save them, that's the fat we've already paid for, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think that tallow or bacon fat should be a cornerstone of your diet. But for me, it's this like waste not, want not, thrifty thing that draws me to cooking with fats like that.
I also keep a little thing of like bacon grease in my fridge, just because you don't want to pour that down the drain in New York City. And it seems like a waste to get rid of it.
Yeah, and it's a great, you know, if you ever want to make croutons, you know, toss your bread in the bacon fat. I love to make toast and put vegetables or whatever on it, and pan fry a big piece of toast in bacon fat. And that's a great use for it. Really swapping half bacon fat for half butter in almost any recipe where butter works, I think adds a nice little porky smokiness.
Huh. Would you do that in the cookie?
Yes, I have done that in a cookie. It's surprisingly very good.
Huh.
But you can't use all bacon fat because it renders out a little differently and gets kind of greasy.
An all bacon fat cookie, though, that would be interesting. All right, last question on the tallow beat. Would you use a tallow face cream? I know you have a dog. Your dog would love that.
Absolutely not. Just because, I mean, I've always had acne issues, and I know that tallow is not bad, but I know it's saturated and it's going to saturate my pores.
Okay, won't send you the tallow face cream then.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
I'll
funny.
make a candle out of it.
We'll be right back with today's guest. Early bird tickets are officially on sale for Cherry Bombe's next Jubilee Conference, happening Saturday, April 25th in New York City. Jubilee is our annual celebration of connection, community, and of course, great food and drink. It's one of the biggest gatherings of women and creatives in and around the food world, and the energy in the room is always incredible. Over the years, we've welcomed some amazing speakers to the Jubilee stage. Martha Stewart, Ina Garten, Molly Boz, Sophia Rowe, Padma Lakshmi, Caroline Chambers, even Gloria Steinem. You never know who's going to show up or what magical moments might unfold. To learn more, head to cherrybombe.com. Early bird tickets are available through December 31st, and if you are a Bomb Squad member or paid Substack subscriber, check your inbox for a special discount code. You also went to Paris, my favorite place, and visited a supermarché there, right? But it was all about frozen food.
Yes. So there's a whole episode that kind of touches on the question of ultra-processed foods, but in a different way. You know, I'm arguing that your freezer is the best preservative you have. And one way that I demonstrate that is by going to Paris and going to Picard, which is the French, their favorite grocery store, and everything is frozen.
You need to say that again because people might not. You have to go to one of them to truly understand it, but literally it's just a supermarket that has frozen food.
Yes, everything is frozen. They may have like a few loaves of baguette or something that's not. And people there treat it, you know, when we go shopping for frozen food, it's like we buy a freezer's worth and it's like, oh, we're going to lose power for the winter and we're going to have to, you know, eat from our freezer. But the French, they go to Picard every day and pick up whatever they might have for dinner. And it's not all frozen meals. Oftentimes it's prepped, blanched vegetables that they can then throw together a meal easily. The way they shop there is still very French, but, you know, not just in the episode. I was only in Paris for 2 days. So I fly to Paris. We shoot all day. I buy all this food at Picard. I go back to this apartment that we've rented and I cook myself dinner in the microwave and have dinner in my apartment in Paris.
Wait, girl, 2 days? You couldn't squeeze out an extra day or two?
Well, actually, I did end up staying an extra day, and I'm so glad that I did. But I hadn't made any plans, and so I was staying on the left bank, and I picked a restaurant that I wanted to go to. I didn't have a reservation, and it was on the right bank, and I just spent the whole day walking over there. And it was wonderful.
Oh, that is the best thing to do over there. Women are crushing it in Paris right now, which is very exciting. I know that.
I know. I wish that Mashama's place had been open. I could have taken her on my little excursion with me.
Oh, tell me when you go back, because last time I was there, Mashama's place wasn't open yet, and I'm dying to go back. So for those who are like, what are you two talking about? Mashama Bailey, who lots of you know, she was on our cover. We adore Mashama. She has the Gray down in Savannah. She and her business partner actually opened a restaurant in Paris, which blew everybody's minds because not that easy to have a restaurant in America in Paris, but they're doing it.
I think it looks so much fun. You know, if she gets tired and wants to take 2 weeks, you know, maybe she could have some guest female chefs from the South come in.
That would be fun. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about the show a little bit more, though. You are super committed to PBS. And I just have to say, I love that about you. You have always been a PBS girl, starting with your very first show, right?
Yeah. People have always said, you know, like, you should get on the Food Network, or you should do this, or you should do that. And, you know, over the years, I have explored opportunities with different networks. But at the end of the day, I have had to compromise a lot of what I feel is important. I don't want to do TV or social media or anything unless I have a reason or a purpose, unless I feel like I have something to say and that I can add to a conversation in a positive way. And I find that PBS is the only place that will really allow me to do that. And the other thing, Kerry, that people don't realize about PBS is that, you know, I haven't made a show in 5 years, but I never went off TV. And because PBS, you know, the things that people enjoy, they continue to air, and they air all over the country. And if you've ever stayed in a hotel, you run into PBS. I mean, I get texts all the time from people all over the country. They're like, I'm in a hotel and here you are, you know. So there's a lot. Also, you own everything that you make on PBS, which is so rare. I almost think that PBS is soon to become radical in the way that it once was. And I'm proud to be on it.
I think that's great. We're proud of you too. Okay, a few other things before we talk restaurants, because I need an update on all your restaurants. How are your kids? How are the twins?
Well, they're not kids anymore. They're freshmen in high school.
Oh, good. Just high school. I was worried they were
Yes.
college age already, and I was going to feel like I'm 100 years old. Okay, just high school.
No, we are
Good.
100, but
No, we're not.
yeah.
Take that back.
They're good. They're good. They're very different. You know, they're twins and a boy and a girl. And I went to boarding school because I grew up in a rural place and I wanted more opportunity, and my parents made that happen for me. And so I had such an amazing experience there that I always said, if I can make this happen for my kids, I will. I never dreamt that one of them would want to go and one of them wouldn't. That's been really challenging this year. I don't know. It's kind of sad. It's just different, but she is very happy. She is thriving, and I'm picking her up on Friday, and she's bringing home a friend from South Korea. And so it's like exciting.
Oh, that is really exciting. Oh, I'm glad to hear they're doing okay. I met them when they were little, and they're such special kids. That's great. Okay, Vivian, walk me through your restaurant world today. Tell me how many places you have, and let's just go place by place and tell me what's special about each of them.
We'll start with Chef and the Farmer. You know, I closed Chef and the Farmer 3 years ago because I didn't feel like it was mine anymore. I didn't know how to insert myself and change it, and I really felt like it needed to evolve, but I didn't know what it needed to evolve into.
Can I just interrupt and cut you some slack for a second? It was also deep in the pandemic when you closed it.
Yes. But, you know, I have this 10,000 square foot building in rural Eastern North Carolina, and I wanted to keep the building and keep a very small staff. So I needed to figure out how to raise some money. And so I started doing these kitchen bar dinners 2 Novembers ago. So this is like my 2-year anniversary. 3 nights a month, I do 2 seatings of roughly 15 to 20 people, and it's 7 courses, and I entertain and I talk through the courses. I started doing it because I needed to raise money, but I have gotten so much out of it. And it's been this like kind of retribution for me, because for years, you know, people would travel from all over the country to go eat at Chef and the Farmer and see me toiling behind the line like they did on the show. And, you know, once the show started and I was able to like write a cookbook that was 600 pages long, I was not running the restaurant anymore, and people were not going to see me. But I was like writing that book 3 blocks from the restaurant, and the guilt of it all got so terrible for me that I like tracked another way home so that I would not have to pass the restaurant and see all the people there to see me that were not going to.
I remember being with you at Charleston Wine and Food, and just the pressure you were feeling from people who told you they'd been to the restaurant and you weren't there, and how disappointed they were. And I could just see in your face how it was just kind of destroying you on the inside.
Yeah, because, you know, I didn't want, nor do I want to be in the restaurant every night. I've done a lot in my career to earn opportunities not to have to do that. But I realized that in a chef's life, I connected with people in a way that people don't normally on TV. I was very transparent. You know, they were literally in my home. It was a really tricky thing. I'm never going to see everyone who goes to one of my restaurants. I just know that. I think the expectation now is that you probably aren't going to see me, but the kitchen bar, every person who goes gets everything they want and more from me. I can sleep. I sleep so well, not because I'm just tired after that, but it's just like, it feels good. And I also, in doing that, really recognize that I love projects that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I knew I loved writing books. I loved writing my column, and I loved making a show with the season's end. And, you know, like I loved planning and then doing and then winding down. And the kitchen bars are that for me.
It's interesting because you had that relationship with your viewers sort of before social media took off and before influencers became a thing. And we had terms like parasocial. You know, all these people had a parasocial relationship with you. Well, that's great. I'm glad you've got an option for all of them. 7 courses, that's a lot. Are they your greatest hits?
No. So I use it as an opportunity to, one, test recipes for my other restaurants, to really celebrate the month and the season. Occasionally I'll bring something back that has a nugget of the past in it, but we're always learning, and I think I'm always becoming a better chef, and so I want to apply that.
So Chef and the Farmer is in Kinston, North Carolina, for people who want to come to the bar dinners. And they can reserve a seat via your website, right? VivianHoward.com?
And we're going to have some really big news, Kerry, coming out about Chef and the Farmer in general in the next couple weeks, maybe, 3 months, three weeks. Anyway, okay. Very soon.
So. Very, very exciting. Stay tuned, folks. And I'm going to try to come to one of the dinners in December. I can't wait.
Yes. I hope you will. So stay tuned on that front. So Lenoir is in Charleston, and that stands for Lenoir County, which is the county that I live in North Carolina. And so it's Southern food, but really Southern food through the lens of the frugal farmer. So lots of vegetables, grains. We cook with a lot of fruit, that sort of thing. Every time I go to Charleston, it's funny because my kids, everyone says I'm going to town. So I not only go to work at the restaurants, but that's where I do my shopping and my dining out and all of those things. And then last summer, I opened a restaurant in Duck, North Carolina, which is way far down in the Outer Banks. And it's called Theodosia. That is when I go to the beach.
Is that only open in the summertime, or is that a year-round?
Yes. So we'll open this year, May 15th, and close at the end of September.
Okay.
But Theodosia is named after Theodosia Burr, who actually was sailing from Charleston, where she lived, to visit her father in New York, and her ship sank off the coast of Nag's Head. So we're, very close to Duck.
Aaron Burr's daughter, Theodosia. Do you want to sing a few lines with me from the...
I could. Will you start me off? So that has been a really wonderful project.
Wait, how beautiful that you named it for Theodosia. That song makes me cry every time I hear it. Did you pick that name because of Hamilton?
Well, I picked the name because, I never grew up going to the Outer Banks, but I was going to open a restaurant there. And I'm what connection do I have to this place? And as a kid, I loved this little book called The Legends of the Outer Banks. It has a dolphin on it. I would take it to camp and read the ghost stories fireside. I was that kid. One of the most famous ghost stories is about Theodosia. And she's wandering on the beach looking for her father. I realized that because of Hamilton, the musical. So I was just that was my connection to the Outer Banks. And I also thought, if you didn't know who Theodosia was, if you didn't know anything about the ghost story, it's just a pretty word. It rolls off your tongue and it feels like something you want to know more about.
Have you seen the musical?
I've seen it on Disney. And I could sing every word of the album. My kids and I really loved it.
Every word.
I have not seen it in person. I will.
Well, I'm making a list of all the things we have to do together, Vivian. We have to go to Paris and eat at Mashama's restaurant. We're going to go see Hamilton. I thought Hamilton was one of the most important cultural moments in my entire life when I saw it.
I've longed to see it. I may spontaneously combust watching it in person. I'm serious.
That's entirely possible. For people who haven't seen it or listened to the soundtrack is one of the best road trip soundtracks.
It really is. And it's a journey. What I've wondered ever since Hamilton is why can't we do that again? Somebody let's do another one that's just that much fun and that singable and that relevant.
Maybe somebody will make one about Theodosia Burr one day.
Maybe.
Right? Stranger things have happened. Let's go back to Lenoir, because you just made me remember the last time I was in Charleston, I think was right when you were opening.
Yes, in the middle of the pandemic. Yes.
Tell us some of the highlights at Lenoir. What are the dishes that everybody loves? Or are you changing the menu constantly?
So the menu changes pretty regularly, but one of the things that is consistent there is we always have my tomato pie, which is something I kind of can't escape. But it's the ultimate vegetarian entree too, and something people really love to share. We have my fried collard chips there, which are kind of a Vivian Howard cult classic. I have a really talented chef there. His name's Manuel Dolwet. He's from Germany, and I've learned so much from him about being organized. And
can you give him my phone number?
Yeah, I know. And I've learned it. I'm not saying I've applied it, but working with the chef both at Lenoir and Theodosia has been a really cool gift, because it has really felt like a collaboration. It's not all on my shoulders, if you will. Actually, you may know Charlotte Coleman. She was with Ashley Christensen for a long, long time. And she was my chef at Theodosia, and now she's working with me in Kinston. until she goes back to Theodosia.
Oh, very cool. And Ashley Christensen, our friend in Raleigh, North Carolina, who has the wonderful Pools Diner. If you're in Raleigh, go there and please order the mac and cheese for me and send me a picture. How's Hot and Handy? Is it still open?
Handy and Hot.
Handy and Hot. I think I did that last time I talked to you.
I know. Just look it up on the Urban Dictionary and you'll know why it's Handy and Hot.
And not Hot and Handy? Handy and Hot.
Handy and Hot is great. You know, we kind of specialize in hand pies. They evolve over the seasons. And, you know, right now we've got a riff on Thanksgiving stuffed in a hand pie. And we've got a fun like pecan cinnamon roll pie. Hand pies are just the most fun thing because if you have like a really tasty bite of something, you can immediately think, well, how can I make that into a filling?
Did you open Handy and Hot first? Because I do think I went to Handy and Hot and I had some of the unbelievable hand pies. It's just not a thing we really have here in New York City unless you count a knish as a hand pie, which I guess in a sense it sort of is. No, you're like, no, not at all.
Not really. No.
No, I take that back. A knish is nothing like a hand pie.
And Handy and Hot are biscuits. Mm-hmm. You know, the South is known for biscuits, but a lot of places, and people love this, so I'm not like criticizing, but a lot of places are like, you know, they put a fried chicken breast and pimento cheese and bacon and a pickled green tomato all in a biscuit. And like for me, a biscuit is the filling should just be about complementing the biscuit.
But you can't eat that the way you described it. And I've seen those because, you know, I've been all over the South. You cannot eat that.
No. My favorite biscuit, like if I'm going to Bojangles here, I just get a ham biscuit because I think that's a great counterpoint to the biscuit. So like at Handy and Hot, we do a ham biscuit with
Are you saying
cheddar.
Ham? H-A-M?
Yeah, country ham.
Got it.
But it would be like very salty.
I know what that is. I couldn't tell whether you were saying a hand biscuit, and I'm like, what the heck's a
well, we
hand
were
biscuit?
talking about hand pies, but a ham biscuit, country ham with apple preserves, so that's like salty and sweet, and then like some sharp white cheddar. So those are 3 fillings, but it's not massive.
The filling should not be bigger than the biscuit.
Right. The biscuit can't handle it. Yeah. It can't, nor should we ask it to.
Also, when I went to Handy and Hot, you had Cynthia Wong's Life Raft treats. It was maybe one of the first times I had tried them. And I love Cynthia Wong. I have not seen her in 100 years.
I love her too. You know, if you want a fun Instagram to follow, you can see how far behind I am on this when I say that. But like, I love following Life Raft treats because they do the most amazing, realistic ice cream creations, you know, like a lunch tray with everything for Thanksgiving on it, you know, and it's all ice cream. I mean, it's just amazing.
Wasn't she famous for the ice cream?
Not fried chicken.
Right, yes. The not fried chicken, but it's ice cream that looks like fried chicken and is so good. I have to say, I mean, you and I have had a lot of laughs over the years, but I don't think I have ever laughed harder than hanging out with Lindsay Collins from F&B Radio and Cynthia when I was in Charleston. Those girls are a good time, and I'm very excited to come back. Okay, that was a nice little tee up to Thanksgiving. You mentioned the Thanksgiving hand pie. What's in the Thanksgiving hand pie?
We have stuffing, like some crispy stuffing, so there's texture in there, some turkey and gravy. But really the most important thing is to have like an acidic sweetness. So we've got a chunky cranberry sauce that works in there. So it's, you know, if you were to make a sandwich out of leftovers, you know, all of those things, that's a great idea for the day after Thanksgiving. Make a bunch of ham pies and then you can freeze them and then give them away for Christmas.
Do you deep fry your ham pies or bake them?
We deep fry them because, frankly, they are better, but they're all bakeable.
Sadly, most things are better deep fried, including turkey. Yeah. Have you ever deep fried a turkey?
I have. And it's better, but it's an ordeal. You have to have a lot of things in place, and you can't do it outside if it's windy.
You don't want to do it inside.
No.
I thought that's what you were implying. People do not deep fry your turkey inside, especially don't do it in your garage. The one or two times I was around a deep fried turkey situation, it was outside in a driveway.
Yes, it needs to be outside. But I've just found that if it's windy outside, it's just very hard for the oil to heat up properly. I've not only deep fried turkey, I've done what looks like slow poaching it in that oil because it wasn't hot enough, you know?
Oh, that's painful. It was confit of turkey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What are some family Thanksgiving traditions that you cannot get away from?
Both my favorite thing about Thanksgiving dinner and the thing that my family does the worst is the dressing. My mom, growing up, she would call her famous dressing. It was infamous is the problem. And it's one of the first things I participated in making. And it was, the Pepperidge Farm cornbread crumbs, saltine crumbs, everything was fine except rather than sauteing onions and celery to put in there, she would just chop up raw and just put it straight in the dressing. And then we would crack whole eggs and whisk them and pour that over top. And it's just like everything was wrong about it, but I had it every single year. And so now I make a dressing, but we still have that one. And I still have like a spoonful of it because it just feels right.
Wait, you make two dressings. You make the one with your mom's.
An edible one and the one with the raw onions.
I don't think your mom Scarlett's going to be listening to this episode, but just in case. Sorry, Scarlett. Everybody loves you. Okay, yes. So you've got the infamous one. And then what's in your stuffing?
I like to do nice, crusty, stale bread.
Can it be any bread? Baguette,
brioche, it can be any
whatever.
bread. I like to use something that I find hanging around at the restaurant or at home. I probably wouldn't buy a loaf of bread for it. I would find something because that's part of the fun of making stuffing for me, using what you have around. So I really like sausage in stuffing, like breakfast sausage, cooked and crumpled up, or Italian. Let's go Italian sausage, cooked and crumpled up, then onions, celery, fennel, maybe some fennel seeds since we're going in that direction.
And how far do you saute them? Like how far do you take it?
I would get them nice and lightly browned. They haven't just sweat. They're not just sweaty. They're a little bit brown. I would put some garlic in there too. And then I would saute some mushrooms separately and add that. I would then call it as an Italian sausage, fennel, and mushroom stuffing. And then pour some chicken broth or turkey broth over top and maybe some Parmesan cheese and then bake it like that.
Oh, the cheese is an interesting addition. Do you just mix the cheese throughout or you top it?
The only reason I said Parmesan is because I've got this Italian theme going. So I think you could leave that off because it kind of messes with Thanksgiving and all the other things don't.
You're going to laugh. I have no idea why this popped in my head when you said, because I have an Italian. I thought you were going to say boyfriend.
No, I wish.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
No, I wish I had an Italian boyfriend.
You have an Italian thing going on. Okay. Maybe next Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And how about turkey? You must be so sick of talking about turkey, having been a chef all these years. How do you make the Thanksgiving turkey? And are you the one who makes it?
Well, I always make a turkey, but my uncle, my mom's brother, always makes a turkey in a bag. That's like a thing. And it turns out pretty good. Like it's moist, but the skin is terrible.
You have to go back to turkey in a bag. What is that?
You buy it and it's in a bag. It's been injected with flavors and, it comes out very juicy. And this is a thing I think a lot of people do. I've never purchased one. I've only had my Uncle Dwight's.
Okay. Anyway, if any of you make turkey in a bag, please DM me. I need to know more details.
Yes, you can tag me too.
All right. What's a Vivian Howard turkey?
This year, and I've never done this before, but, we were talking about stuffing. I should have delete all of that because I do really like to spatchcock a turkey. And I've done that several times before. It cooks more evenly. It cooks more quickly. But this year, I'm going to make that little stuffing mix and I'm going to press it into the bottom of my roasting dish. And I'm going to put my spatchcocked bird on top of the stuffing and roast it that way.
That's a big roasting pan. Or what are you doing it on a big sheet tray?
Well, I have like a paella pan that will fit it. It's actually the Smithy, like a party pan, but it'll fit in my oven. If you have a relatively small turkey, you could probably do it on a half sheet pan, like a baking sheet.
And you're not worried about overcooking the stuffing, or are you constantly moistening the stuffing?
Well, the bird is going to render down and keep that stuffing really, really moist. So one of my favorite recipes that I don't know if I came up with it. I didn't get the idea from anyone else. One day I had some bread, a big stale loaf, and I was experimenting with roasting chickens on top of things. And so I roasted a chicken on top of this big slab of bread, and it made the most delicious, chewy in places, crunchy in places, piece of toast I'd ever had. And so this is translated into stuffing, that idea.
Tell me about a veg side that you're doing.
Well, this is super fun and very region appropriate. I live in Eastern North Carolina, and we grow more sweet potatoes here than anywhere else in the world. I have been doing this thing, and we're going to do it at my family Thanksgiving. And it could be an appetizer, honestly. So you roast a whole sweet potato and then cut it in half, and you hold half of it in the palm of your hand, and you're going to scoop like 3/4 of the flesh out, not all of it. So you want to leave like a 1/4 inch of flesh there. So you have like a sweet potato skin. And then you can either roast that in the oven with a little bit of salt and oil, or you can fry it, which is frankly better. So it's really crispy with persimmon and apple and spiced pecans and chopped arugula, chopped mint, some kind of cheese of your liking, blue cheese, farmer's cheese, Parmesan cheese, and then just like lemon juice, honey, and olive oil, and make that little salad and put it inside of the sweet potato, and you can eat it almost like a toast. The sweet potato is the vessel, and it's really surprising and delicious and texturally very interesting. And
oh, that sounds so yummy. This is why you're a
great
chef.
way to have a salad on Thanksgiving, when I think we don't often work that in well.
A salad is a must. We had Melissa Clark on the show last week, and she's a big proponent of salad on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. All right, before we let you go, a dessert.
Well, my mom and sister and I were talking about this last night. Pecan pie. We were talking about our family's pecan pie. My mom has always made the recipe on the back of the Karo syrup bottle, but just doubled the pecans. It makes for a very nice pie. So we'll definitely have that, but no one ever eats it on Thanksgiving. We eat it the next morning for breakfast with coffee, because inevitably there's like kind of more exciting desserts at Thanksgiving. We indulge in those. And then this is just, it's great with coffee in the morning.
Oh, that sounds perfect. I love pecan pie. And don't sleep on those recipes that are on the back of the bottle, the box, the package, whatever. I mean, some of those recipes are time tested and excellent.
They are tested. The one on the back of the Karo syrup, you could just add some orange zest and maybe some grated ginger to really change it. But you have a formula that really works.
Yes, absolutely. Viv, last question. What are you most thankful for this year?
So grateful and thankful to be surrounded by my family. My parents are old and feeble and needy, but, I'm 47 years old and I still have them. Thankful that my children are happy and healthy, or happy-ish. I think it's hard to be a 14-year-old nowadays and not have a lot of challenges. Yeah, I'm grateful for all those things.
Oh, wow. Okay, we've run out of time for a speed round, but I'm going to ask you the final question. If you had to be trapped on a desert island with one food celebrity, who would it be and why?
Can they be like
alive or dead? They can be dead.
Well, I think there's only one obvious answer. It would be Julia Child.
Why is that?
Well, first of all, I would really like to engage with someone who lived their life pre-social media. She just seemed to have a zest for life and a fun spirit and a great sense of humor. Laughter is one of the things that I value even more than good food. That would be very important on a desert island.
Well, I have no doubt you two would eat well and laugh a lot. But yeah, talk about parasocial relationships. My God, the whole country had a parasocial relationship with Julia Child.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We still do, some of us.
We do. Do you know people would call her on Thanksgiving because her phone number was in the phone book in Cambridge?
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had a lot of folks over the years who worked for Julia, and they would tell us stories like that. Amazing, right?
Yeah. I guess, would she answer?
Yeah, she would. She would. Do you want to give everyone your phone number right now? We can broadcast it.
Not today.
Maybe tomorrow. All right. Well, Vivian, thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
That's it for today's show. Thank you to Vivian Howard for joining me. We have one more Thanksgiving episode dropping this Wednesday with our friend Tommy Vincent. It's a beautiful show about family, friends, food, and giving thanks. Don't forget, tickets for Jubilee 2026 are on sale. We're taking pre-orders for our beautiful new issue, and we will be in Charleston on December 11th. Visit cherrybombe.com for more. Our theme song is by the band Cha La La. Special thanks to City Vox Studio in Manhattan. Our producers are Catherine Baker and Jenna Sadu. Our executive assistant is Bridget Pittman, and our head of partnerships is Rachel Close. Thanks for listening, everybody. You're the bomb.